That's your ban. Great timing.
Wow, how did you see that one coming?
Wild. See the future.
I'll be honest, you don't sound thrilled with it.
A Ying ban. All right.
Okay, this is definitely been taken from yesterday.
Yeah, I see you. It's not a bad ban.
No, I don't think so. Ying is actually very popular in this region to use on this map, especially when you're, of course, attacking down onto the basement site, which is a lot of teams' favorite site to go to first. So yeah, that takes a big thing away. Valkyrie ban, I'll tell you what, we've seen a lot of maps this weekend where you would expect a Valkyrie to be banned, and she's just been allowed to slip on through. So seeing her to get taken out almost feels like a breath of fresh air.
It kind of does, and it's another tool that NIP used very effectively.
Yeah, Psycho. Likes his Valkyrie.
That information that they're able to gather. There was a lot of intel gathering yesterday from NIP, and they needed it. The Yings are really good. It's going to hurt NIP as well whenever the attack comes around for them. Cade being removed as well. So nothing too extreme, nothing really out of the ordinary. Just a good old-fashioned counter ban or two from FaZe based off of VOD that they watched and how they saw NIP playing yesterday. This is the kind of stuff that you can expect, especially here in Brazil. It's very common to play the same map twice in the weekend, and it's often your opponent that'll pick that second map for you because they want to try and take you there and they want to try and counter. But NIP are going to be more than ready for that, I am sure. And small matter of a Ying and a Valkyrie isn't going to be enough. It has freed Psycho up somewhat here on the defense, at least, to play a bit of Vigil.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this is a really interesting defensive lineup from NIP, and I wanted to mention it because they're only... I don't want to say anchor, because Mirror technically counts as an anchor, but their only plant denial that they had was the Echo, and that's what they six-picked off of to bring the Vigil along. So NIP are clearly looking to make a really extended defense here, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to work for them, because I think regardless of who the team is, it is quite a big risk to designate so much of your power to off-site play. Now, clearly the idea is that eventually you recall them all to the site and they can all play there, but these are very heavy roam operators. When you look at Mozzie, you look at Vigil, you look at Malusi, and Mute very typically is played off-site too. So I'm curious to see how that one is going to go, especially as something like Astro's air jabs, for example, that could provide a big issue. The Geminis can be exceptionally effective in hunting out these players. Cameraman going to be DBNO'd immediately, though, and he's their... not their only hard breach, but he is their only Maverick.
Will Cameraman be rezzed? Find out, hopefully, in less than the time it takes him to bleed out, because that is where he is headed right now. It could just be a case that FaZe are taking their due time to take precautions. C4 going to be wasted. Pino is chunked down as well. Cameraman will be back up alive and kicking, so could find himself in a position to start using that blowtorch. At least he wants to spend those grenades before he inevitably falls. Soul's actually going to shut down Psycho. It's one way of dealing with a roam game, I'll be honest with you. If you can get him to peek out of a window, then GG.
Well, I said that I wanted to see FaZe Clan looking to get those opening kills just because NIP have been struggling a lot with them of late, and they've managed to do that successfully on this round. So that's certainly a good start, even though I suppose you could argue NIP were very close to doing it to FaZe Clan, but Cameraman was indeed able to be rezzed. So that's fine. Pino also looking very weak too. Now, Moosey's not too far away here. He's in kitchen, and he's just going to be watching out, knowing full well that these players are opening up the meeting hatch. I would imagine that FaZe Clan is setting up for a drop. They don't really have... I mean, they have someone stationed on the tower stairs, but currently they're just droning. So there's not a very aggressive pressuring onto the defenders down in Pillar, for example. They still have time to set up that attack once they're ready to do so.
"45 seconds ticking on the clock. Moosey will start to make that rotation back down. Kamikaze does manage to make a C4 land and takes down Astro. Moosey now could be very dangerous indeed. Oh, he may not even be required as the kills continue to go in NIP's favor. Cyber finally grabs one back. It will be downed in process, effectively leaving this to a 3 versus 2. Souls with the slow peek onto Julio will be successful. 15 seconds left, still plenty of time, especially with Bullet landing that swing onto Muzi. Souls backing him up as well. Great first round there from FaZe.
Just a beautiful way of clearing up the site. It seemed that with every single kill they got at the end there, NIP weren't even ready to hit their triggers. It was just really nice, and you can see the way that FaZe Clan moved through the site as a unit, always watching each other's backs. If anyone were to have been taken down, the trades would have been available. Meanwhile, NIP's positioning was almost the exact opposite. Everyone was in different parts of the site. No one was in a good place to trade. They just had to wait for whenever their own engagement was going to be coming to them once FaZe Clan finally pushed up. It was an interesting attempt from NIP, but I don't think this massive off-site roam really worked for them because they just didn't seem to apply enough pressure in the right places. FaZe Clan weren't impeded in being able to do things like opening the meeting hatch, like being able to just simply clear out or utilize. I think that's the better way of saying it. They weren't impeded in being able to utilize the first floor. Now, that should be the point of the roamers. Even when someone like Muzi was still up there in kitchen, it didn't stop FaZe Clan from opening the hatch. It didn't stop them from taking tower stairs. There was nothing like that. So they really didn't gain much from being there. NIP looking to be going up to the top floor to Kid Storms. And again, they're really not leaning into any kind of anchoring. You guys can't actually see right now because we're just waiting for one of the players, I think. But Malusi, Mute, Goyo, Alibi, and Aruni is currently the lineup that they're hovering over. There we go. We're finally in. No anchoring there, really.
NIP not looking to... Well, I mean, you could say that they're looking to deny the plant in terms of a C4, and maybe the Goyo is going to be given anchor duty. But you worry about their lack of information. The Valkyrie ban surely can't hurt them this much. They need to be bringing that info in another way. And so far, there's no camera, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. They're not bringing the bulletproof. Aruni's opted for the barbed wire. Alibi, obviously, with the deployable shield, and then 3 C4s on everybody else. So there is going to be a lack of camera information. Obviously, there's other things that you can use to gather information, but it is never as it's not as obvious or as clear as just being able to flick through a load of cameras. So NIP needs to be mindful of that and need to be careful not to really just give up too much map control too soon. But then again, with the lineup that they're bringing, you would expect a lot of vertical play coming through here. They are bringing 3 C4s after all.
Which could be incredibly valuable, but it's true. I find it very peculiar that they, back on round number 1, it was the Echo that they 6-picked off of. So it's not like they've forgotten that Echo exists, and he has cameras. There are plenty of things that he could bring, but I don't want to knock it too much until I've actually seen the outcome of this. Cyber just trying to take some shots there onto the stairs, but those NIP players will be backing off somewhat. The C4s could be good. They could be valuable, but my worry is that if FaZe Clan actually get to the point where they are upstairs and they get ready to take a plant, which is not necessarily a huge FaZe Clan thing. They don't care that much. That NIP are already going to be too late because of the way that FaZe Clan coordinate with each other as a group. It's going to be hard for NIP to fully push back on that, and they could find themselves being picked apart in the process.
Look how aggressively this roam clear is coming in as well. Muzi is already not quite surrounded, but there's plenty of blue X-rays on the map that we can see that are going to be headed in his direction. Julio takes a ton of damage as well as he does manage to retreat and get himself back up into Kids Dorm / attic. Muzi's still below. He's being chunked down too. Probably still waiting for the drones to come in and actually discover exactly where he's going to be playing at the moment. But the pressure is enough that he is going to drop himself off, get into the basement, and maybe try and reappear somewhere else. A C4, however, will land. Cameraman is going to be the first to fall.
Nice opening kill from NIP, and we were looking to see those C4s gain value, so it's nice that they got that. Now, my question is, have they got attic open? Because typically that's going to be the job of the Maverick when you're attacking onto this site. Looks like the answer is no, because Julio has been able to just throw a C4 over into Trophy himself, get a nice kill onto Astro, and still hold attic just fine. He's got the Vulcan shield right by him. The reinforcements haven't been breached. So this might actually be quite tough for FaZe Clan at this point, who are going to have to feed themselves in through Trophy, it would seem.
This is exactly what you want to see if you're an NIP fan. 2 C4s thrown so far. 2 kills gained. 1 does go back as a trade, but Muzi has been able to rear his head. Just peeking up those laundry stairs, getting into main and managing to find a little bit of success there. Soul's going for some very aggressive plays here with the diffuser, no less. That's going to be cold on the ground. He's shut down by Pino. Cyber, 1 versus 4. Does find the first. What a nice pre-fire, but it was always going to end fairly soon after that. Kamikaze with the swing is able to land a couple of shots onto him and get the job done.
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, really facilitated by the C4 play. 2 really clean C4s. Had they not landed, maybe that round would have gone in a different direction. But the fact that FaZe Clan never really opened up any good routes in. We saw them once they got to that top floor. Okay, coming in through Trophy, you didn't have anyone on big window. You hadn't opened up games as far as I'm aware, or at least if they had, they weren't using the breach. They didn't have attic open, so they couldn't come in through that direction. Really, the top floor on Oregon is one of the most important sites to have access to these multiple angles and these multiple routes of ingress that you can take into the site itself. And that was something that FaZe Clan simply hadn't done, because yeah, sure, they'd tried to activate this roam clear and they'd tried to secure a bunch of kills that had backfired and come back on them, but it was before they'd been able to actually do any site setup themselves, and they were left with very few options by the end.
Back downstairs for another bite at the cherry here. NIP has been successful upstairs. Now they need to try their luck elsewhere. Am I right in remembering, Gio, that this was the game where NIP were just flipping and flopping between top floor and kids' dorms yesterday?
Oh yeah, they only went to 2 sites.
Yeah, they didn't actually go
to...
so
annoying.
Yeah, it was aggravating. They didn't actually go to kitchen, either sort of meeting in kitchen or kitchen and dining. It was odd.
And I love the dining site on this map. I think it's cool. NIP clearly do not agree with me, and I don't like it. Psycho on the Ella. This was something we saw yesterday because we discussed this quite a bit. He decides to bring the Scorpion, and you didn't like it because you were like, if he had the FO12, he would have been able to win that round. And it's something that we saw GDN, one of the opponents, do very well with the FO12 in hand. But Psycho likes that Scorpion, and it didn't get a ton yesterday.
Tell you what, you wait until Cyber gets on the defense. Cyber doesn't waste any time. He doesn't muck about. He'll be straight out with that FO12. All in. Honestly, that's all he'll play on basement. So, yeah, it's renowned and famous for a reason at this point. But with the angles that are being held here by NIP, it's extremely passive. And they've got things that can do a similar job in position that you would typically play that Ella as well. The mirror windows are one thing that are really giving them quite a lot of information at the moment. Pino also with the ability to peek off the back of that. He needs to be careful he doesn't get caught out from the hatch, as he is just thirsting after that drone. Eventually, he's going to be able to clear it up. I worry if this is going to be a hatch drop, because it's unnecessary. Just use the stairs. It's going to be a little bit safer for you.
Just use the stairs. That would be too easy. It does look like they are starting to come down the stairs, though. Or at least have someone hold an angle down the stairs. So far, Pino is relatively safe. I remember back when Kamikaze used to hold on to the shield here. Ooh, nice kill onto Psycho. There's the opener. Finally, We're in the final minute, but Pino's going to be pushing on up, but there's the flashes and the nade completely surrounded. And now look at how FaZe Clan can just filter their way in from this one side of the map. Julio's got to try. Is the C4 going to get anybody? No. It's just all these players of FaZe Clan are going to continue to clean up, Ollie. And that was a good attack onto this basement site.
Great execute from FaZe. I think to be able to have everything fall into place at the right time, like they just did, is something that is drastically underestimated for how difficult it is in this game. Like, the stun grenades going in at exactly the same time. All Pino got chance to see then was a red grenade symbol. Yep. And he just knew. He knew. At that point, it was too late because the next split second, he's full white flashed. The next second, that's it. He is out of action. He's out of the game. Really, really well played there from FaZe. They're pushing through Freezer, second to none. They took the time with it. They opened the hatch. They were kind of baiting him out there a little bit. They knew that he was either inside of the corridor or he was playing a little bit further in that little corridor in Freezer. And they needed to bait him into there so they could get him out with the nade. They were able to do that successfully. The laundry push came through and that worked as well. There was another nade that forced Julio out of a safe position into a much more dangerous one. All things that really worked very well for FaZe. That's something that they've started to do a lot more over the last couple of stages, is their ability to maneuver players is exceptionally good. And as you mentioned a couple of rounds ago, Gio, they don't care about getting that plant down. They really could not give a single one. Like, not at all.
When FaZe Clan are not, when we talk about our, really objective-oriented teams, we think of like Team Liquid. FaZe Clan are the other end of that spectrum. They are just not, they don't care. They don't care. But when they do good executes, they are really good executes. And that's the thing that I think has been so important for the growth for FaZe Clan over the last couple of stages, is bringing about the consistency and the efficacy of those executes. Because think back to stage 1, they would have some that would be so fantastic and they would be a marvel and a spectacle to witness, but then sometimes they would just fall totally flat on their faces.
Yeah. And that's the sort of fine balance, isn't it? And it seems as though FaZe are getting that balance right more often than not at the minute.
It's really nice to see.
It's nice to see that progression. If that's what they want to roll with, it's great that that's now working for them and that they're further refining it as well. Because that they put a lot of work in. Cameraman speaks very passionately whenever we get him in the interview about, what they're working on behind the scenes. Not like the ins and outs of it. He's not giving anything away, but he's letting us know that they put a lot of work in to get better, and it is being proven at the moment.
People gonna be missed. Only 2 left, NIP. You better use them wisely. He's kind of doing a pretty thorough clear here. The site is down in the basement. I suspect we are probably going to see another instance of NIP just trying to stay within these 2 sites if they possibly can. NIP are absolutely that team who won't show anything they don't have to. They did this in stage 1. So, would not shock me. Psycho, again, has been the first one to fall, but because he's playing on the Vigil, you would at least expect that to be the first one. This is a lot more similar a composition to what NIP played back in round 1, 2. In that last round that we just saw, they did have a smoke in there. They had a mirror. They've gone back to that sort of heavy roam style.
Polar opposite, isn't it?
Yep.
We saw this from them yesterday. They started very slow, and you could see that they were starting, and they weren't very confident at all. They got a couple of round wins, and that gave them some confidence. Here and now, they've not been able to get a couple of round wins. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to see them pull something out here, but Bullet, he punishes Muzi. Muzi really should have been hitting that shot. That's not one that you very often see Muzi miss. Pino, though, he's woken up, shuts down Souls. He needs to be careful because there's a potential that he's going to get naded out of here. The nade will come through and it will take Kamikaze down. Pino on a shred of health, lands a couple but can't finish him off. Julio can though, makes the rotation round. Cyber, how does he pick up the last 2 there? Well, we're going to get to find out. A flick and a flick, one side and the other. Very impressive stuff.
I don't think it was the linchpin for that round, but the fact that Muzi whiffed those shots, A, very out of character for him. B, what?
Yeah.
It was right there. That I think you could tell, actually, I think because of the way he was pushing up and he knew the nade was coming, he felt pressured. He knew that pressure was coming.
He was trying to make a play, wasn't he? He was forcing a play.
Yeah, because he knew he had to. He simply didn't have a choice because NIP know how FaZe are going to push. If NIP don't make that engagement first, if they don't put the pressure on FaZe Clan first, they're going to be the ones feeling it. And they know that. And now that's a great power position for FaZe to be in because they know they're in their heads.
Yeah, FaZe are really living rent-free at the minute, especially 3 rounds on the attack on Oregon. You do wonder how much the Valkyrie ban's hurt in NIP. Cast your mind back. You think about some games where Valk's been banned and NIP have struggled. I don't want to say there's a direct correlation, but they do struggle to find that information from elsewhere, and it takes them a while to change things up sufficiently. Again, they're running exactly the same lineup that they did previously defending this site. Now, they were able to get a couple of early C4 kills last time, which really assisted them. So you would imagine that they've got information to land those C4s. But still, that late round info is still something that they seem to be lacking a little bit.
Let's see how this one goes, because last time NIP came and defended kids, they won the round, but a lot of the problems that I had was FaZe Clan hadn't really done sufficient site setup. Now, we've already seen them head over towards tower. We're seeing this this droning towards armory. They managed to get into trophy okay. It was just there was nothing past that. I had my issues with their games room. They didn't have anybody over on big window either. I mean, they're not even running as a Fear, which is who traditionally you would usually put on big window, but I guess no one's going to be playing the M762 these days. You can put whoever you want on big window. You live your dreams. The point is, FaZe kind of actually got to have someone there, in my opinion.
We'll have to keep an eye and see if anyone makes that late rotation. Typically, you'd want nades there as well, so that you could at least affect. I know Iana's always a good option to put on that window, because you can gather a bit of info with the clone and push in from that sort of direction, but
there really
no
is.
one
There's just
occupying
no
the space.
There's no pressure on that side of the map.
Nobody occupying that space at the minute. Pino, it's a C4, which needed. We commented before about how the C4s were good. This side, Astro, it's a narrow shot, but you're still going to hit it, but he takes Pino's head clean off his shoulders.
Well, at least they got that C4. One of their, I don't want to say win conditions, but it was one of their things they did very well back in round number 2. Seems to be going well for them here. Nice trade, secured by Kamikaze, but Muzi, with him being taken off the board, he's just not having the best of days. A 2 versus 2 becomes a 2 versus 1, and it's all on Psycho.
Just couldn't quite make his way through the rotation and hit the shots at the same time. Little bit of a disconnect there, but will choose to play aggressively here. Time enough for FaZe to get into the drone and actually search out this remaining player. Will eventually find the drone, and I tell you what, Cyber, he's got some confidence on him today. He's like, yep, he's there, is he? No problem. Straight round the corner, bang. Easiest shot of his life. Second FaZe player to get a very narrow kill on that exact same angle, Astro being the first. FaZe are dominating here.
It's disgusting, is what this is. This is pretty disgusting. Oh, and hey, guess what? We're going back downstairs to laundry and supply.
There are only 2 sites on this map.
There are only, of course, there are only 2 sites on this
map.
map.
Oh, did you not get the memo? Since stage 3 came in, there's only 2 sites.
Right, yeah, because, you know, they saw that this is one of the maps that actually has 4 viable bomb sites, and they've just slashed
too many.
it.
Yeah, too many.
It's like the CEO of NIP was in touch with the CEO of Ubisoft. It was like, hey, listen, we gotta get these 2 sites out. We don't want anything to do with the kitchen. Man, oh man, NIP do not want to be showing much. That is my suspicion. But the idea really should be that in the games that they are in, they should at least show something, and they haven't. They just have not in this game so far. A slight change. bringing back the mirror. We got the Wamai in there. So at least we can catch some projectiles. That's a good adaptation, I think, just because of how much nades have kind of screwed them on this site so far over the course of a couple of rounds. We get the ADS from Muzi. That'll eat up some of those projectiles. We get the discs from Wamai, or from Psycho. That will eat up some more of those projectiles. So at least should give them a bit more impunity, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
They certainly need something, because the nades have been very effective from FaZe, and it's in part the drones as well. You've been able to get that information. Obviously, you've got a rough idea as to where people are going to be, and they're going to know roughly where these nades need to go, but you also need to know if there's someone there, if it's worth actually committing that utility to it. And FaZe have had the whole package when it comes to that. So actually trying to make it a bit of a difference here and actually tried to adapt in terms of that catching utility. There's a chance here that NIP don't get entirely embarrassed on their defensive phase. But even at this point, 4 rounds to 1, things are looking exceptionally good for FaZe. With a quick drone out there for cameraman, it's going to call pretty much the entire map as clear as NIP, despite the lineups that they've been fielding in previous rounds, they are looking to fully turtle in onto this defense again.
Now, is Pino... So, obviously, they can play with the mirror window there on the freezer window. That was... freezer wall, sorry. That was there before. I want to know where Pino is, because this is where he was playing. It's where he got caught out, and it gave FaZe Clan such a solid opening into freezer for their approach in. Got to get going on this security hatch. I assume that they're going to be setting up laundry as well, although none of the silhouette, other than Souls, over who presumably is by the stairs... No one is really on the laundry stairs looking like they want to push down there. So I'm curious as to whether or not they are going to look for this same approach that they did back in round number 3. Because there we go. They got going on the meeting hatch. They're opening up a line of sight down into the E-box wall. Now, the idea here is that they're going to clear out that player who's right behind the wall. You can see the silhouette. That can be done with flashes. It can be done with nades. They'll probably put someone on the tower stairs, try and secure a pinch, but either way, this is going to be a different approach to what we did see in round number 3.
And that's good. FaZe keeping things fresh here. They're going to start with a nade as always. Cameraman makes one land onto Julio. Hill's going to trade back and forth. Still a presence in bunker here for NIP. Pino just missing out on a couple of shots there, but Muzi is able to still affect and finds the kill onto Astro all the way from this bunker. Souls, he's picked up one, but he needs to find another. Muzi eventually will search out Cameraman, but again, another 1-for-1 trade. FaZe being so consistent in that fact. Bullet and Pino locked into the 1v1. Pino no longer has a C4 as he's already just used it to find himself the kill. Bullet, are you going to collect the diffuser or not? The answer is no. Just got a glimpse at the last possible second. There's typically only one place people hide on that site, Gio, and it's in that closet.
I do agree with that, but at least if you're NIP, you know, all Pino had to do in that situation was survive, and the round was theirs. I like that FaZe Clan were going for a different approach, and again, we saw some really nice trades from them. The fact that Souls was ready to instantly punish Muzi when Muzi got his kill, when everything was going on over towards construction, that was really nice, because it just shows that FaZe Clan are in these good positions. It's like how we've in the past spoken about Team Liquid, and specifically Nesk. You know, that is Nesk's greatest skill, is his position, being ready to take a trade wherever needed, and that's something that FaZe Clan have been particularly adept at today. It seems really that for NIP, the one thing they have been consistently good at in this game today so far is the C4s. Well, now they're on attack, they won't have any C4s. They're not available to them. So they're going to have to do something different. FaZe Clan straight away going to be giving us a change of scenery, though, which is a welcome change for me.
The explosives have been really prominent on both sides. I think, you know, you can think of FaZe winning the round off the back of a couple of grenades, and then likewise NIP, a lot of their success in the rounds that they've seen has come off the back of those C4s. So we'll have to see if that trend continues now we've switched sides. Obviously, there's a chance for C4s and nades. Pino's going to be bringing the nades for NIP, and There's going to be 3 C4s for FaZe, so they too are going to no doubt try and double down on that piece of utility. And as you mentioned, Joe, we're getting to see somewhere new. We get to go where we didn't think we were going to be able to go.
I know, it's exciting. We're going to meeting! It's gonna be fun! FaZe kind of extended their defense to the upstairs, as we can see cameraman here holding on to trophy. That's going to really obligate NIP to go for this upstairs clear. Interesting as well, you know, they've decided they're bringing one heart breacher and they've... Oof. Oh, okay, nice shot, Muzi. Nice to see you landing some. You know, they've brought their Ash. It's, you know what, it feels like a reunion to have Ash be brought back into a bunch of these compositions. It's not been a super long time that she's been gone. But, you know, like, remember back the Ash Sophia days? Oh, feels like so long ago. Either way, they'll have their breaching charges that come available with her. So they've lent into a lot of this soft breach because they've also got the Rotera drones from Psycho too. It's just going to be Kamikaze who's going to be relied upon to be opening up those reinforced surfaces, which will pretty much only include the meeting wall, unless they're going to look to open this hatch here in Attic, assuming that was reinforced as well. But they're not going to need much else than that.
Do you see Psycho getting one of the Rotero drones in there to remove the shield? I think that's pretty much top floor control gained here for NIP. Psycho could choose to open some vertical angles as well. It looks as though that's how he's going to spend his remaining drones. Obviously, everything else already being ticked off that list. It's a handy way to get things open. Allows you to open very safely from outside and then actually commit into the room that you've just caused the damage in. Kill again will go in favor of NIP, but is immediately traded this time. Astro dips himself up and through. Transitions out of flags and gets himself into meeting. Still in a position to affect onto the site, but he knows that the vertical is going to be a problem. Could be thinking about going for a bit of a flank here. Does have the time to do so, and if the flank watch isn't sufficient from NIP, he really could cause quite some damage. Now, he doesn't know that there's going to be a player just on the other side of that barricade, but we do. Pino shuts him down, and this is almost certainly going to be a round that locks in for NIP very shortly. 15 seconds left. Souls, last remaining hope. No Toxic Babe canisters. Could find himself an exit frag or two, but that diffuser is likely going to go down. And there it is, the confirmation, as if we needed it. Psycho there to pick up the final kill for NIP.
It was a bit messier, but NIP putting more rounds on the board is not something I'm going to argue with, because these are two Titans in this scene, and I want to see them having a really even, well-fought match. And up until this point, it hasn't really felt that way. FaZe Clan is still retaining the lead for now, however, and as they head down into the basement, we'll see how this is going to go, because NIP have always had a very characteristic way of attacking onto this site. They usually go for a freezer push themselves. When we saw them playing yesterday, that was something that they employed their first attempt at attacking onto this site, and it worked. But after that, we did actually see them adapt, and they decided to use the tower stairs a lot more, which is not something that they really used to do in the past that much. So we know that they have the flexibility to go for different approaches, and that they will if they feel the need to. However, my assumption is that they will still default to looking to make some kind of freezer push. This is such an interesting spot for this mirror window, because that's not where people generally play them on this site.
It isn't, no, it's...
That is some off-site play, my dude, and they are expecting a small tower push. They want to be... they want to hold on to security. They know
it's just a risk. This is classic FaZe, by the way. This is like, for anyone that's new or not familiar, this is classic FaZe Clan. Where...
This is FaZe Clan who put 2 mirror windows on Library in Chalet in their very first game of Chalet.
Love that strap.
Love it.
It'll resurface that one day, I guarantee.
Oh, it'll be the meta.
Some up-and-coming analyst will see it or think about it and be like, yeah, I'm the first person to ever do this. and it'll change the game.
No way. But it does suggest to me that FaZe Clan really want to stop NIP from having access to security.
Which makes a lot of sense. That's usually where NIP really start to mount their attack. And if FaZe are looking to pressure NIP at the start of the round and really start to pinch onto that time, could be something that sees them some success. We know that NIP are a team that struggle for time, and if you can waste as much as possible early on, get yourself back down onto site, which already it looks as though that's exactly what's happening here. I think FaZe are going to be fairly pleased with that. They've taken out Psycho, they've got themselves a kill, and they've wasted around a minute.
I have to ask because I didn't see, but do you know how many drones Psycho had remaining? Because
I would imagine a lot.
yeah, that's a decent amount of utility to lose that early on, especially when you consider, most teams are going to be bringing the Flores, not just because, oh, we have more information using the drones, but because he can get rid of utility a lot, and it allows you to bring fewer nades. The only nades they have is the one left that Pino has. Beyond that, okay, you've got the soft reach that Ash brings, but because Muzi's going to be playing aggressively, there is that risk that you're going to lose him as well.
I mean, at this point, I think they'd just be glad to have a couple more drones in the picture as well, as they've only got 2 left, which is not ideal. Minute left, desperate hatch drop. Muzi will survive it, pre-fires his way in, but for how long? Bullet still has an angle to try and peek onto. Elevated angle from Muzi coming in as he's hopped himself up onto the box. A lot of FaZe eyeballs in that direction. I do start to worry a little bit. They may be just focusing in a bit too heavily. Cameraman's going to get himself taken out as Muzi's swing is successful. Levels things up here. But Astro bites back, takes down Pino, and can retreat himself a little bit further. Julio now trying to push his way in through Laundry. But still the onus on NIP to make this move. Astro, he is lit. He has got 1 health and a dream. Needs to try and keep himself alive. Maybe, just maybe, could find himself a very important kill here. Pre-fires through and is not successful, but Souls is. Bullet comes in for a little cheeky kill as well, but Souls picks the final 2. That's going to do the job for FaZe. They pick up their basement defense.
Mate, Souls with the trade factor once again.
Yeah.
Souls,
best player in BR6.
Dude, Souls' cost is going to end up being 100% just from trades.
Yep.
It's really impressive. And I mean, NIP, their push down into Freezer, it was fragmented. It was quite messy. They didn't have a ton of people who could do it. But because they are mechanically strong players, they could still deal, a decent amount of chaos down below once they made it into the basement. So being able to have a really strong player like Souls, who could not only get that trade at the end, but then also deal the final blow, get the final kill, hugely valuable. And the fact that he's been pretty consistent with that throughout the course of this series so far, I'm not complaining. I think Souls has been playing excellently. He's 9-4 as well. He's top fragger?
He's the best support player. He's the best support player.
Well, hold on. Shepherd.empire will have something to say about that.
1v1, I reckon.
Okay, but Shepherd, you have to give Shepherd an SMG-11 for 1v1.
I think Souls can rock the SMG.
I think he can 100%. Rock it as well. I'm just saying, like, that is the Shepherd weapon.
Okay. I mean, Souls is currently 3rd highest cost in the entire BR6 for stage 3.
That
I thought I'd look it up while you were.
That literally doesn't shock me at all.
Brought it up.
Who are the other 2?
Have a guess. Play a guessing game.
Oh no, because now I have to remember any of the players' names in this region.
I'll give you a clue. Who else dominates every other top of stat?
Alamau.
Wrong. Close.
What? Lagonis.
Oh, come on, Gio. Neskin. Neskin is up there. So you were right. You were on the right track with Team 1. And then good old Palu.
Palu. Oh, yeah. Classic
I think Palu just defaults to top on nearly everything, though, just because, yeah, he's just incredible. But Souls is certainly in the conversation for one of the best costed players inside of BR6. And as it turns out, FaZe as a whole as well, they've actually got 3 players inside the top 10. So that certainly shows that level of consistency that we've been seeing across the board. It really isn't just about one player every single week. There's a potential for anyone to pop off.
I just want to... Okay, I know I've spoken about weapons a lot today, but look at what Bullets brought.
Oh, no. This is the Desert Shoe strategy.
No, this is the Geos. Hey, I did it before Dez did. Don't take it away from me. I am all on the MP5K train.
It's just, yeah.
But you can't do sight setup. There's no shotgun.
If they were playing in a Rooney, I'd allow it. But the fact that Cyber's still got 2 nades left.
We need someone who can punch the walls over.
No, but the fact that Cyber's still got 2 nades left means that poor old cameraman has been very busy.
Yeah. It's all been on cameraman, really. Oh no, what a shame. Well, the MP5's fun. Oh! Alright, well, cameraman finally landed that shot. I was a little bit worried there for him.
Not only is he setting up the site, but he is also finding some kills. Equal 3-3. Still a minute left here. There's a long time to try and keep off this attack. I believe we've got the good old-fashioned mute bug, so we have just lowered the volume of the game. Don't worry, it is not on your end. It is for us as well. Cyber shuts down Psycho, and this is all of a sudden looking quite good for FaZe. This one-by-one approach that NIP are employing is not going to get them anywhere. Muzi cut off by the Toxic Babe canister gas at the top of White Stairs and really doesn't know which way to turn. Cyber's going to pick him up as the final kill there. FaZe still looking very good here on the defense.
Looking strong. They're pulling away from NIP. And we were so close to NIP actually evening things out. We got to that 4-3 point. NIP had had a couple of decent rounds, the 2 rounds 6, round 7 that were done in a row. Now suddenly FaZe Clan are on match point, and NIP are not looking super close to being able to bring that back. Now, so they're going to be going to meeting here once again, so back to their primary site. This was a site that NIP actually took from FaZe Clan, so maybe the same could be done once again. We're seeing a couple changes here just in terms of the 6 picks that are being brought. The Bandit back, that's something that they played before. I remember that because I just remember them having a really colorful lineup. Yeah, I have to say, like, the Mirror, the Mozzie, and the Bandit all together is just very aesthetically pleasing.
Is it?
Yeah, well, it's just like, you know, it's kind of bright and cool. Because you look on the other side, Twitch, Yana, and Zafia. Okay, I'd say that's a better color scheme in terms of actually being nice to look at. But it's just, there's nothing there that, like, stands out. Whereas, can you imagine this? Imagine, like, a Mirror, a Mozzie, a Bandit, but then you've got, like, a Goyo and a Wamai.
I thought you were going to say, like, like, describe a room that was decorated then when you started with a mirror. Like, I thought you were like, imagine a purple mirror with, like, a pink curtain.
A mirror
like,
that's this kind. No, I would not want a room that, although, when I was a child, my bedroom was basically colored like Mozzie and Jaeger.
Nice.
It wasn't very nice.
I had like, Ash is orange.
Oh, what, all 4 walls?
No, it was weird. There was 2 lime green, 2 orange.
Oh my god, Ollie!
It was loud. It was very, very loud.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I'm not you.
I mean,
Either
then I got a degree in design and learnt a thing or 2.
Hell yeah, I'm good. If that's what it took, I hope it was worth the money.
We are slowly going crazy here. I think that the mute bug's really not helping that fact. Someone needs to shoot a drone. We need somebody to sacrifice a drone, and then we'll get back.
Yeah, can we just get an admin? Just tell them, be like, please, someone just like martyr your drone.
I think that's why we're going on to everybody that's on a drone right now, because we need somebody's drone to get taken out. But
someone to shoot it.
In contrast to everything else that we've seen up until this point, NIP are actually being really good with their drones. They've got 9 left. Typically, they run out very quickly. Pino's been able to find the first kill onto Cyber, so this round might not be too bad here for NIP, as long as they're able to keep progressing on through. A takeout onto Cyber is going to be quite a big deal indeed. It removes the C4s that are going to be remaining on the side of FaZe. Bullet does have a response, though, as still the top floor is being vied for.
Julio still holding on here as he's taking control of Attic, which was something that FaZe Clan really kind of failed to do when they were playing against NIP themselves. It's a really good position to hold, especially if you want to be gaining that crossfire that cuts across the very top. But, of course, so much of the action is happening down on this first floor where the site is. Still, Bullet untouched here in showers. That could be kind of a problem. You know, if NIP don't focus enough over on that of the map, then players like Bullet could just feed themselves over toward... Oh, if you'd have shot through the floor a little bit more, could just feed themselves over more towards the site once NIP are finally in, assuming they even get there.
NIP are a team that are known to cut things pretty fine, but even this is cutting it by their standards. They've got that top floor control, but they're not able to really do too much with it. And now they're starting to see a lot of pressure. Astro, how? How do you manage to land those shots strafing side to side when the beams are going in the same direction? Psycho is going to be down, but Julio does fight back. Takes down Astro, and Psycho is actually collected. He's revived, only onto 20 health, but it's looking like it could be enough here. Kamikaze's hitting that plant, and it's all now down to Cameraman. We've seen him clutch before, but this is looking like it could be a bit of a step too far. Trying to swing his way through, has the barricaded wall to contend with, and he is in a 1 versus 3. It's the reload on the commando, we might add. It's not often that you see the commando. We commented on that yesterday. That could be the difference maker here. He's found one. He's pre-firing, which would suggest he doesn't have a great deal of intel to be going off. And he's more than likely going to get shot in the back. There it comes. Julio shutting him down there. The F2 at range. It is enough to keep NIP in this for one more round, but still match point for FaZe.
That is the second time now that NIP have successfully attacked onto that site. And I think a lot of the covering fire and the positions that they set themselves up with when Kamikaze was planting really helped with that. Because it meant that, yes, FaZe Clan did do that thing that I was a little bit concerned they would have space to do. And that is feed themselves back into the site. But there was no room that they had to play with. They couldn't peek. They couldn't really take the shots because there was always someone from NIP who was ready there to hold those necessary angles. And of course, I'm not going to say no to watching a little bit of the Commando. I got so excited when I saw that reload animation. It's like greeting an old friend.
It really caught me off guard because I wasn't like, who runs the Commando? Apart from, and
anymore.
Don't say Cameraman, because absolutely nobody runs the Commando. Everybody runs the Roni. So to see the little cool animation.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned the reload and I like noticed and I was like, oh, that's the reload. And I was thinking, I'm going to mention that if he doesn't. And then it was like it took you a second to register.
Yeah, I did. Because I was like, we
was?
had that conversation yesterday.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so exciting. That's made my day.
It's the small things, Joe. It really is the small things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we don't get Mozzie on this round, unfortunately. So I'm kind of sad about that.
No, Cameraman demoted back to the smoke. I'm not sure if it's a demotion. I think he'll play whatever's necessary. We did it. A camera got shot. We did it.
We have sound.
This is incredible. Producer Simon, crank us back up to 100%. We're ready to go.
Let's go. Let's go. Right as NIP, they're going to be rolling into overtime now. We're going to an 8-7 today because we are ready to go off of the energy that we have derived from having our sound back. And, you know, Psycho is playing Monty, so that means NIP are kind of knuckling down. They're getting serious now.
The going gets tough. The shields get going. Psycho, what are you going to be able to do for us? NIP are known to crutch into the shields when things aren't really going in their way. They've already managed to stave off one match point, but I think the basement is an entirely different beast for them. It is not an easy site to attack into at all, as has been demonstrated today, especially the lineup that FaZe are now bringing. They're focusing very heavily on those ADSs and those magnets. The nades have been very key here today. There are only 2 in Pino's hands, but still everything else that goes with that. Psycho, going to have to be that big beachhead here. There's still so much to try and work through.
Now, of course, the Grijmot mines from Cyber could end up posing somewhat of a problem to Psycho, but...
Which gun has he got, Gio?
Oh, wow. You happy about that?
Very.
Yeah? He's got the FO12?
Very happy indeed. Yeah. FaZe play this very well as well because they'll play Cameraman on the freezer stairs, they play they play Cyber on the back stairs, and that's basically all that they need to do. They can watch the hatch. Bullet's going to be watching the hatch. He's actually going to fall here, which now gives Cameraman a little bit more vulnerability, especially if Monty pushes down.
think he knows that Monty is coming. He also knows this hatch is being watched. We had the perfect angle onto Pino. That's really big covering fire that has now been lost for NIP. So this player who's kind of guiding the Monty, he's got to decide where he's going. They're just going to get aggressive here onto Cameraman. He nearly gets one, but Psycho, all he has to do is crouch and fire, and suddenly Freezer is theirs.
Julio pushing in through Laundry as well is going to give a nice little crossfire, and if Psycho can get all the way up, which it looks like he has been able to do, could be a little bit of a problem. Free fire shots going down. Eventually, Astro will join in. It's going to be Muzi to take down Psycho. How does that happen? This is match point. We cannot afford team kills. Cyber, you'd done so much of the hard work. All you had to do was drop his shield, and his teammate did the rest. He's likely going to pick up the last one here as well. Muzi, GG. Unfortunate situation. Certainly not a big factor in the game as a whole, as FaZe have played exceptionally well all night. 7-4 win here on Oregon against NIP.
That was certainly a game, and I feel like we just saw such a clean version of FaZe Clan. It is a version that I have been wishing we could see for ages, because especially in Stage 2, it just felt we'd kind of lost them a little bit. And I do remember when we would talk to Cameraman, he would say, we're taking a step back, we need to figure ourselves out, we need to get back on the same wavelength.